Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make my little Amigurumi Mr. Potato Head. And the colours that we're going to need are black. I'm using Rainbow Loom Caramel. I'm using a pink, and this is not Rainbow Loom, but the Rainbow Loom pink from the Skin Tone packet works well for his ears. Red, white, and this is the ocean blue that I've used for his feet. You're going to need stuffing of some sort, and also I'm using the 6mm googly eyes. Now these do not have sticky on the back, they're not adhesive, they don't have the sew on. As I said, they're about a 6mm, and what we're going to do is slit the back here with a sharp pair of scissors or a knife, and we will add our bands that way. Now I do have a video on how you do this, but basically you make a slit in the back of the eye very carefully so that you don't slice your fingers off. So if you're a kiddo, you might want to get a grown-up to help you, and you slice two little lines like that down the back of these eyes, and then using a very fine hook or a metal threader that you can make out of a twisty tie or something like that. I have a video again on my YouTube channel in tips and tricks on how to do that. You poke your hook through like this, and then you grab your band, and making sure that the hook part is facing the right way. And it is a bit fiddly, but this does work. Grab your band and pull through. You have to kind of keep that taut, otherwise it flies off the end. There we go. Pull through your eye like this, and that's how we can attach our eye to a band without having to go out and spend a gazillion dollars, pounds, pesos, francs, Deutschmarks on eyes that can stick onto bands, and it's quite tricky to find them that stick onto bands. You don't want to use glue, that will melt your bands and ruin your creation. So oops, this is how I do mine. Come here, you. There we are, just like that. Okay, so you thread them through. So you're going to need 6mm eyes, something sharp to slice the back of the eyes. Grown up if you are a kiddo, because I do not want anybody telling me they've sliced their fingers off. That would be bad. I'm using stitch markers. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use an S clip or a C clip or something like that. That works fine. You can use a paper clip. That works as well. What we're going to do first is make the bits that we're going to stick onto our Mr. Potato Head. So we're going to make some ears, some arms, the nose, moustache and teeth, and we're going to do his feet. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do one foot, but you obviously need to do 2 feet, and likewise I'll show you how to do one arm, and you can do the other arm. So let's get started. Let's do his little nose, his moustache, his mouth and arms. Alright, so starting with red for his nose, I am going to use my loom just to do the magic ring. I find it's easier to show you guys what I'm doing when I have my loom to show you how I'm doing my magic ring. Otherwise I think things get a little bit confused. So take a single red, and we're going to wrap it once and twice. If you're doing this just on your hook, you wrap it like this, okay, and then you pull your bands through, and this is where I had people saying to me, but I'm losing where the magic ring is, because you would do your thing and then you go back through your band like so, and you pull through, and this is how you do the magic ring without your loom. And it's pretty easy if you've got the hang of it, and it does make for a smaller hole in the middle because you're not stretching it around a peg. But a lot of people, as I said, have said they can't find where their band is. So if you're having trouble doing it that way, we do it this way. We're putting 6 stitches through our nose, so get 6 bands ready, and you're going to push your hook through the center and drag your first band through. Now I do have a video on Loomigurumi, Beginner's Guide to Loomigurumi, and I also have one on Magic Ring Made Easy, and I would highly recommend that you watch both of those if you don't use the Magic Ring Made Easy. It is explained in the Loomigurumi, but not in quite as much detail. You will be completely confuzzled if you don't watch something like that before embarking on a project like this, because the terminology is a little bit different and so is the technique. So we do our magic ring with 6, one over the other like that, and then take your loom away. You don't need that. You're going to spread your stitches. These little, each of these are a stitch. Spread them around. Now as you can see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6 is on your hook. You're going to go through number 1, alright, and taking a single band, you're going to do what we call a single crochet. You pull the single band through that first stitch and reclaim, and then you take that the closest side of that first band to you up and over, and then join it to the loop that you already have on your hook, like that. And this is where we're going to put our stitch marker, to mark where the beginning of our stitch our round is and the end. Now what we're doing is an increase in each of these, so we're going to go from 6 stitches all the way around to 12, which means we have to do 2 stitches in each of these initial stitches. So we just did 1, so push your hook through stitch number 1 again, and let's do our second single crochet, one over the other, and join. Now we're going to move to stitch number 2, which is here, and we're again going to do 2 single crochets in here. So here's our first one, and then go back through that second stitch to do your second single crochet into our third stitch. Here's your first single crochet, and back through again, and we'll do our second. And the next stitch, here's our first single crochet, back through again, here's our second, and this is called an increase, and this is how we make things bigger when we're doing this Loomigurumi or Amigurumi with loom bands. This is how we increase the diameter of something to make things bigger. I'm in my 6th stitch, so there's my first single crochet, and here is my second. Now I do use a 2.75mm or C hook. I find that the smaller the hook, the less likely you are to stretch the bands, and if you stretch the bands you're going to have bigger holes between your bands. Go back through that first stitch where your stitch marker is, and we're going to do a single crochet, and you're going to move your stitch marker to that new band, that new stitch there, because that shows that we're back at the beginning. Now we're going to do a round of single crochet, which means you just do 1 stitch in each of these stitches. So we're in stitch number 2, and I'm sorry my hands are in a dreadful mess at the moment. I think it's the cold weather, but they're splitting and cracking, and so don't look too closely at my nails or my fingers. See, we're just doing a single crochet all the way around. I think dry hands and split fingers and everything is the legacy of being a loomer, isn't it? Definitely happens to a lot of us. So we do all the way around with just a single crochet in each stitch. This is my last stitch here, and I'm back to beginning. So push my hook through that first stitch again and do a single crochet and move my stitch marker. So we should still have, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is on our hook. So that's 12 stitches, which means 12 bands. So we've used 6 bands, 12 bands, 12 bands. We're now going to use another 12 bands as we go around again. So into the second stitch, we're just doing single crochets. Make sure you go through both of those little loops. And I'm back to the beginning. I'm going to go through and I'm going to do what's called a slip stitch. So I'm pulling it through, but then instead of doing a single crochet like I would normally do, I'm going to hold on to the end and pull it through the loop that's on my hook, and then reclaim and do a slip knot like that. Okay, I take my stitch marker out. So this is my nose. Alright, so that's the little nose that's going to go on our Mr. Potato Head. That is going to sit to one side until we're ready for it. I'll just take these red bands off, we don't need those on that magic ring. Now what we're going to do is make his moustache. And his moustache is a little bit different. We're not doing a magic ring for that, we're going to do a chain. So take a single band and wrap it around your hook once, twice and 3 times. Again, single band. Now I do only use single bands when I'm doing my crocheting with loom bands. If you do 2 bands, it makes it much thicker, and it's kind of a bit of overkill really, unless you want something to be super thick and not bending. For ears, for example, for a rabbit, you wouldn't want them to be too floppy. You could do triple bands for the centre of the ears to make them stronger. But we're just using single. So slide that on, and we're going to make a chain. 1, 2, 3. Try and make it so it doesn't twist as much. There we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I've made a chain with 7. Okay, I'm going to take this side of my band up and over. Now as you hold this, you're going to push your hook through that first loop next to it. Okay, so in here, and you're going to take a single band and pull it through, and you're going to add this loop to it, so it's like that. You're going to go back through that stitch that you just went into, so we're working on that first stitch. Pull another band through, and we're going to add, see, this is our band that we've pulled through, and these are the 2 loops that we already had on here. You're going to take this loop that's in the middle up and over and reclaim, and you have 3 on there now. Another single band and pull through and reclaim. Okay, so we've done 2 stitches in that first one. We're going to go to the next stitch here, okay, the next chain, and we're going to take a single band and pull it through. And we're going to take another single band, and we're going to pull it through. We've got 4 loops on our hook. We're going to pull this single band through 3 of them. Alright, so pull through 3 of them and reclaim, and then you've got 3 loops on your hook still. Let me get those out of the way. And you're going to take another single band and go through all 3 of them and reclaim. We're going to go back through that second chain and do the same again. Pull through, take another single band and pull through 3 loops, and then join those 3 loops together. We're going to do the same in the, how many have we got in there? We've got, did we do 2 in there? So we're now at the next one. We're doing 2 of these in each of these chains. We're in chain 3. There's our first band. Pull through 3 loops, and then you've got 3 loops left on your hook. Join them together. Back through that 3rd chain, single band, pull through, another single band, and pull through 3 loops. Reclaim and join them all together. So that was 2 in that one. We'll go to the next one. We'll do 2 in here. Pull through, pull this one through 3 loops, reclaim and join together. Do a second one in there. Pull through 3 and join 3. That was 2 in that one. We'll do 2 in this one. Oops. Pull through 3. You've still got 3 on there. Join them. Another one in this. Pull through your single band. Pull through 3. Join 3. Now we're going through this first chain, and it's got the end cap on, so I know it's a bit bulky. Pull through 1. Now we're not going to add another band to this. You're going to go through and add that loop to it like this and rejoin. Take a single band and join the 3. The reason we've done that is to make it so that it starts to come in instead of being as long as the others. Alright, now we're going to go back through and we're going to do what's called a slip stitch. Pull through all the loops and tie off in a slip knot. Now if you want to, you can cut the end cap off. It's kind of in the way, it's a little bit bulky. If you do this, make sure you're cutting the end cap and not the bands that you're using. So there's my end cap, and I can get rid of that. And here is my moustache, which is going to go like that. Alright, so we're going to sit that to one side, put our scissors away so we don't chop our fingers off. We're going to make some teeth. We're using white bands, and again it's going to be a chain. So you're going to take a single band, wrap it once, twice, 3 times. You can do it just twice if you want to, and we're going to chain 4. So here's number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now when we do things like this, you want it to be this length, okay, but we need an extra chain here, because if we loop this one over like that, we've only got 3 and we want 4 chains to work with. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 more, and then we can move this up and over like that, and there we have our 4 little chains to work with. All we're going to do, go through the first one, the one closest to it. We're going to do a single crochet, up and over and join, and we're doing 2 single crochets in each stitch, so it's an increase, okay, in each stitch. Now we move to the next chain and do 2 single crochets in that one. Number 1, number 2, here's our 3rd one, number 1, number 2, and here's our first one, number 1, and we're going to finish with a slip stitch, so you go through both of them and tie off in a knot. Again, you can cut the end cap off, you don't need that. So again, very carefully make sure you're just getting the end cap. You can take that away, and these are going to be his teeth. So we'll put that near his moustache and nose for when we need to do those. And again, we'll put our scissors away so we don't cut ourselves. Now, for his hands, I'm just doing chains for his hands. And for his fingers, we've got an end cap, 1 pair and 2 pair. And we've got 4 of those. And we join them together. And then we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's do that. We're going to do 4 for each. Single band, wrap it once, twice, 3 times. Slide onto a pair and reclaim. And another pair. And reclaim. We're going to do that 3 more times. 1, 2, 3. Slide onto a pair and reclaim. Slide onto another pair and reclaim. 1, 2, 3. Slide onto a pair, reclaim. Slide onto another pair and reclaim. If you feel that you don't have enough room on your hook to do 4, you can just take them off and just carefully make sure you don't lose the bands that you've done there. 1, 2, 3. Here's a pair, reclaim, and another pair and reclaim. Now we want all of these on our hook. Okay, you're going to take a pair of bands and we're going to slide all of these on. Now, before we reclaim, we need to do another pair of bands twisted. So slide that down and you're going to hold the other end of those 2 bands with your finger. Take 2 bands, put them on the end of your hook and wrap once and twice. Slide down and then reclaim the end of your bands like that. That's so he doesn't have this great big hole in the palm of his hand, because that would look really odd. Okay, now I'm using double bands. Did I use double bands? I did use double bands. Double bands. Slide these on. I wanted to make sure I didn't use triple bands. I try and do the first 2 bands, then the wrapped band, and then the next 2, like that. So that's my first pair. Second pair. Third pair. Now I quite like him to be able to bend his arms, so what I did, 1, 2, 3 at this point, so 1, 2, 3, what I did 1 more pair. Don't reclaim, all right, hold on to it, take another pair, wrap once and twice. This makes his joint. Put that back, 1 more pair, you're going to slide that through, and then 1 more pair. Now you need this to sit on a holding hook, a pencil, a chopstick, anything that you have available to you to use to hold it so that it doesn't go all over the place. I'm going to pinch and I'm just going to put it on a holding hook, but as I said, if you have a toothpick, whatever you have to hold this, and we need to make another one. So I'll let you make another one, and then we'll get back together and start on his shoes. So now we're going to make the shoes. Okay, and this is one, and you're going to make two of them. I've already made my first one, and I'll show you how to make them, and then you will make two. So again, we're going to use our loom for our magic ring, and we're going to make a magic ring with 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take one to wrap around your peg twice, and we'll do our magic ring. Bunch it around. 2. 3. 4. 5. And 6. Take it off your peg and move these around to spread them out evenly around the circle. This is stitch number 1. We're going to put our hook through, and we're going to do our first single crochet, and we're going to be doing an increase in each of these stitches. Let's put our stitch marker on. So that was our first stitch, our first single crochet in stitch number 1. Go back and let's do a second single crochet in stitch number 1, and we're increasing the size of this magic ring from 6 to 12 by doing 2 single crochets in each stitch. This is my last stitch. Oops, there we go. Back to the beginning, push your hook through, we'll do a single crochet, and we'll swap our stitch marker onto that stitch so we know that that's the beginning. Now what we're going to do is a single crochet followed by an increase. Well, that was our single crochet on stitch number 1. So in stitch number 2 we do our increase. There's 1 and 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and then we do a single crochet in number 3, 2 single crochets in number 4, and a single in number 5, 2, If you forget how many you've done, just spread it open and you can see you've got 4 little loops there, 2 little loops there, 4 little loops there, so 2 little loops will be a single, 4 little loops will be an increase. Finish on an increase, 1 and 2. I'm now back to the start. I'm going to push my hook through and do a single crochet and move my stitch marker like so. Our next round is going to be 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So that was number 1 single crochet. This will be number 2, and then an increase. And 1, 2, increase. 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 And we're back to the beginning, so push your hook through, do a single crochet and move your stitch marker. Now we're going to do a round of single crochet, but we're just going to work on the inner stitch. So when we normally do a single crochet, we're going through our first stitch like this, and as you can see there's 2 loops. There's the inner loop here and the outer loop here, see? Alright, we are going to go through 1 loop only, which is the inner loop. Alright, so we're going to leave the other loop alone. You're just going through this inside loop. So we're going to go all the way around doing single crochet just like normal, except you're just going through 1 loop of the band, not both loops. And doing it in the inside rather, changes the direction of where your stitches are going. So when I've done this, I'll show you. All the way around. Nearly back to the beginning. Through this first stitch here, we're going to just go through the inside loop again and do our single crochet and move our stitch marker to that stitch. Now, as you can see, do you see how it's sort of come up? So that's the bottom, and this has now come up at an angle. So it changes the direction of where your crocheting is going, which is quite handy. Alright, so hook back through. Our next round is going to be single crochet in both loops. So put your hook through, and we're just going to do a single crochet in every single stitch all the way around using both loops. Or both sides of your stitch. Make sure you go through both. All the way around. Back to the beginning. I'm going to push my hook through. Now I'm going to do a single crochet. Remember, this is the first single crochet of your next round. Okay, move your stitch marker. That was number 1. What we're going to do for this next round is you're going to count out 5 bands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this one is number 6 on your hook already, and then have a little pile of 12 bands and then a little pile of 5 bands. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're going to single crochet with these 5 bands and obviously the one that's on my hook, and you're going to go through both loops. Okay, both loops of your stitch, and you're going to go and do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Add that to the one that you already had, so that's 6. Okay, 6 all the way around from your first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is on your hook. The next pile is 12 bands. You're going to go through just the inner loop. Okay, the outer loop is there. You're only going through the inner. Again, single crochet for the next 12 just in the inside loop. So you just have one loop on your hook that you're going to go through. And this again is to change the angle of where our stitches are going, so that it's coming in towards the ankle. I'm going to use all 12 of these bands and do 12 stitches on the inner loop. there's my last one for the inner. Now the next stitch, which is here, push your hook through, and these last 5 bands, you might need an extra one, you're going through both of the loops of the stitch. Yeah, you are going to need an extra one. 6. I thought it should have been 6, seeing as it was 6 the other side. So one more here. And see how that sort of changed the shape again. Push your hook through the first stitch and single crochet and move your stitch marker. Okay, now we're sort of doing that where we split it up. The next one is going to be 6 bands. So count out 6, 2, 4 and 6, and then another 6 bands. Keep it in a separate pile. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not sure whether we'll need 5 or 6, but we'll get 6 ready. So again, now it's going to be 6, 2, 4. I've got way too many here. What have I done here? 2, 4, 6. But we only need 5 because we have number 6 on our hook here. Gosh, I was really counting crazy. So that was number 1, going through both loops. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. With the next 6 bands, we're going to be going through the next 12 stitches, and we're doing a decrease. So you're going through the first one and then get the next stitch to it. So you have 2 loops on your hook and you're joining them together, reclaiming one over the other to do your single crochet, and then do the next one. Go through the first stitch and the second, draw through your band and do a single crochet, and the next one. So we're doing this with the next 12 stitches in total, and make sure that you are getting the next one. So we're here and here, and then here and here, and you're going just through the inside stitch, drawing them together. Our last one on the inside is here and here. Pull them together. Okay, so we're starting to form this little shoe, and then going through your next stitch, you're going through both loops in a single crochet. No more decreasing. 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6. Take another band. You're going to do your first stitch for your next round, single crochet, move it through and move your stitch marker onto that, like so. So see how this little shoe is forming? So next what we're going to do is 4 bands. We've got 1 on our hook already, so 3, and then 4, and then 6. 2, 4, and 6. So we're going to do these, go through both. 1, that was 2, 3, 4, whoop, come come back here. No runaway bands today, thank you very much. Now we're going again through, and we go through the inner 1 and 2, and with the next 4 bands we're doing a decrease again. Pull through, reclaim, and do your single crochet, and in the next one, 1, just through that inner, 2, pull through, reclaim, and the next one, 1, 2, and one more. And then you finish your round with single crochet through both loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push your hook through the first stitch, single crochet, and move your stitch marker. Right, so we're nearly there. What we're going to do now is 3. Well, we've already got 1, so you need 2. And then we're going to do 5, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So through the next stitch, that's number 2, this is number 3. Now for these next 5, you're going to work on the outer. So we've been working on the inner, now we're going to work on the outer, and you're just going to do again a single crochet. Oops, if I can get my hook and my fingers to coordinate, on the outer of each of these. And then finish off going through both stitches, finish your round off just doing single crochet through both. Now you are going to make another one of these, so pause the video and rewind. Let's finish off with a slip knot here. Rewind and make another one of these. Just do a little slip knot, take my stitch marker out. Now I know that you can see that it's on an angle, it slopes down here. That actually works really well in our favour because we're adding it to a rounded bottom, so it works quite well. Okay, so that's why I've done it like that. So here are our 2 little feet. We have our arms, hopefully you made your other arm. We have our nose, our moustache, and our teeth. It's like a real Mr. Potato Head, isn't it, where you've got all these separate parts that you have to add together. We've got his eyes threaded on. So let's start the body, and we're going to start from the hat and work down. So grab a black single band and wrap it twice around the peg on your loom, and we're going to do 6 stitches in that. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's bunch that around. And I feel that I'm going to have to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Bunch that around. Let's see if I can do this for you. There we go. Number 3, 4. Oops, try that one again. 5 and 6. Get rid of your loom. You're going to spread these little stitches evenly around so that they're spaced out, and push your hook through stitch number 1, and we're going to be doing an increase in each of these stitches. So here's our first one, and let's put our stitch marker on. And let's go through the first one again and do our increase, and then through the second stitch, and we'll do 2 stitches in there, 2 single crochets. There's number 1, and back again for number 2. We're in our 3rd stitch. I'll do 2 in here, 1 and 2. 4th stitch, 1 and 2, 5th stitch, 1 and 2, and here is our 6th stitch. I'll do 2 in there, 1 and 2. Go back through your first stitch, do a single crochet, and move your stitch marker to mark this as our beginning. Our next round is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase. So that was our single crochet in the first stitch. So now in the second stitch we're going to do an increase. So you do 2 single crochets in that second stitch, followed by a single crochet, followed by an increase, followed by a single crochet, and an increase, and a single, and an increase, single, and an increase, single, and an increase. And then we're back to our first stitch. So go through that first stitch and do a single crochet and move your stitch marker. Our next round is going to be a single crochet all the way around. Alright, so just a single crochet, 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in each stitch. And this forms the top of his hat. Oops. Back to the beginning. Now the next round is going to be 2 single crochets followed by an increase, and it's going to be in brown. So I'm going to get rid of these black bands, brown, it's going to be in caramel, and take a caramel band, and there's our first single crochet and a second single crochet followed by an increase. So that's 2 in the same stitch. Single crochet, single crochet, 2. Single crochet, single crochet, and 2. Single crochet, single crochet, and 2. Single crochet, single crochet, and 2. If you get lost at how many you've done, have a look here. You've got 4 little loops, 2 little loops, 2 little loops, 4 little loops, and then you do 2 little loops is a single crochet, 4 little loops is 2. And I will finish. So I've done an increase, a single crochet, single crochet. This is my last stitch here. It's an increase. So that's 2 in the same stitch. And then I'm back to the beginning and I'll do a single crochet and move my stitch marker. Now we need to do 9 rounds of single crochet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put out 9. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 bands. That equates to each row. And my other little pile here is where I'm going to be using from. So I've already taken my first one here, that's here, but I'll take it from here, and that indicates now that I have 8 rounds left. And we're just going to do single crochets all the way around, which is 1 single crochet in each stitch. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23. I'm back to the beginning here, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is 24 on my hook. I'm going to go back through and taking one from here, which shows that I now have 7 rounds left to do. And I'm going to leave you to do the 7 rounds, 7 more rounds, or 8 if you include this round as well. All right. When you have done 9 in total, because we started with 9, so you want to have 9, you're doing 8 more, restart the video, because you're going to pause this now and do your next 8 rounds until you get to the state that I'm at, which is here. All right. So from this point, this is the back, where your stitch marker is at the back. We're going to start at the back, and I'm going to put the brim of his hat here. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, this is where we joined the black to the brown. I'm going to just go through here on this particular one, and I'm going to take some brown bands, and I'm going to lay the base for the brim of my hat. So literally I'm just putting a band through and going one over the other, and then going to the next pair of brown bands and dragging a black band through, one over the other, and joining. Go through the next 2, and we're going to do this all the way around, which then gives us a base that we can do the brim of the hat on. So push through those 2 little brown loops like this. It's going to take a little while to get all the way around. Now be prepared for this to look a little odd until it's stuffed. It sort of can take on a bit of an odd looking shape to it, but usually once you've stuffed it, it sort of looks a bit normal again. So we're just building this base that we can then build our brim onto. nearly there. There's my last two that I've got to go through. Now, what we're going to do for the next round around here, as you can see, we have these two loops here of our band that we've just laid down. We've got the one closest to you and the one furthest away from you. The one furthest away from you is nearer the center of the hat. We are going to go through only that one. We're not going to go through both loops. Let's move this camera a bit so you can see what I'm doing. We're only going through this top one, and you're using a single band and you're going to single crochet just in that top loop closest to the top of the hat or the top of the head. And as I showed you with the shoes, it forms a little angle. Nearly went through that twice. We just want each one to have one single crochet in it. Goodness me, I'm being a butterfingers today. Just through that top black loop. Okay, I'm back to the beginning, or nearly. 2 more stitches to go, if I don't drop them. And I'm going to go through these two from my first round. There we go, at the beginning. I'm going to take a single band and pull it through in a slip stitch, nice and tight. And I'm going to hide this tie-off band in some of these bands here firstly, and then poke it through with my hook on the inside, pull it through to the inside of my creation. You can turn your creation inside out. There it is. And I'm going to hide it through some of these bands here at the back, so that it doesn't come loose and get in the way. So there we are, I've hidden it there. So this is going to be the brim of his hat. Okay. Now, we also want to make sure that this bit is at the back. Okay, we want to put his eyes and his ears on. So with his eyes, if you have a look, I've come down, this is 1, so we've got 1, 2, and it's on about 3. Alright, so positioning this bit at the back, and they're close together, his eyes are close together. You're going to have a look here and let's see if we can come down 3. So we've got 1, 2 and 3, and this is the middle, so I'm going to put one eye here, and I'm just going to take a band to mark where I really want them to be so that I can approximate so that they're close together. So if I did them like that, that might be right. Let's have a look-see. I think that would be okay. So I'm going to push my hook through one side. I'm going to grab one end of my brown band on my eye, keeping it on my hook. I'm going to come through that other side. I'm going to get rid of that black marker band. Grab the other side of that brown band on the eye and pull it through, and I'm going to just tie them together because they you have these bands between them. Okay, I'm just going to tie them together. I'm going to use brown so that it's not too obvious, just like that. Okay, so that's going to be his eye, like that. Let's do the other one. Pop one side through, grab one loop, pull through and go and find the other side, remove that tie-off band or the marker band, pull it through. Now if you feel they need to be a bit closer together, and I think they could probably do with being a little bit closer, this is the time to adjust. And I can see my tie-off band here has come undone. That's interesting. Let's redo that. Ah, a band broke. That's not very handy. Let's redo that. I hate broken bands. Hate broken bands. So do that nice and tight. Pull that through to the back. I'm going to hide it inside some of these bands here. At least it broke before we stuffed it. That would have been annoying. And drag through if I can. There we are. Not going to see the end of that. Okay, so let's make these eyes a bit closer. I'm going to untie this one. And sometimes you do need to fiddle around just to get them perfect. As I said, these are 6mm. And of course I did this lovely and tight. There we go. Let's see what I can do. Might go one. I'm going to leave one side there. So one side is in there, and I'm going to go to the middle here. Let's see how that fares. One, two, three. That's the middle. I'm going to pull one side through and move a bit further away. Pull it through. Tie with the brown band. Let's not tie it as tight as I did before in case I need to move it again. There we go. Let's do the second eye. I'm going to go through the same hole in the center here, which is there. Grab one one side, and come on you, keep it on my hook. 1, 2, 3, space it away. I might have done it too far, we will see. I don't want it to be too loose because otherwise it will it'll look odd, but I think that's fine. Make sure these are tight. Okay, so that's his eyes. Alright, let's get rid of these broken bands. The nose is coming down a little bit lower, but we're not ready to add that just yet. We have more rounds that we need to do. Okay, but we can position where we want his ears to be. I'm just going to take a different colour band. If you have a look here, we've gone down to here, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the 6th, and you're going to split it halfway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So about here will be the start of one ear. I'm just going to do a slip knot in it so that we can mark where that is. And then on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does that look about right? No, I think that's too low, so we will go up one. Let's make sure I've got that right. Position. So that's where we're going to put the ears. Alright, so let's go back to our brown bands that we're doing. We've got our eyes on, we've got our hat, and the hat will be a bit more pronounced once we do some stuffing. So we've done 9 single crochets. We're now going to do, put your hook through again. Now we're going to do 5 single crochets followed by an increase, and then 5 single crochets and an increase. Alright, so this was number 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase, which, if you remember, is 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Now count another 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're back to the beginning, do a single crochet and move your stitch marker. This is stitch number 1. Now we're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 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 Back through your first stitch with a single crochet and move your stitch marker. Going to do a round of single crochet, just one stitch in each, one single crochet in each stitch. back to the beginning and do a single crochet and move your stitch marker like so. So we're going to do the ears, and what we're going to do, pop your hook through, take out your marker band. You're going to take a single pink, loop it on itself so it's tighter, and drag it through and reclaim. Take a single pink and pull through like that. Now this is going to be sort of our magic ring where we're actually adding our loops. So a single band, drag it through and one over the other, and we're going to go around this this band here. One over the other and join. One over the other and join. I think this is 3. 4. Oops. 5. 6. 7. Let's have a look how we're doing here. I think we'll do a couple more. 7. Let's do 8. And oopsie, come here. 9. Can we fit one more in? Let's have a look. No, I think we're going to just do 9. Alright, so your hook is here. You're going to take your hook out and put it through so that it's facing this way. And we're going to go through this first stitch, okay, and do a single crochet. 1, and then in the next stitch, a single crochet. And in each of these stitches, you're going to do a single crochet to make the ear bigger. And so, is that our last one? I think there's one more after that. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 9 is on my hook. I'm going to put my hook here and do a slip stitch. Now I want to make sure that I'm grabbing something so that I don't slip out. So there we go, I'm going to put my hook through there and tie a slip knot. Nice and tight. You don't want that going anywhere. Okay, so this is one ear. You can hide the tie-off band either at the back under these little loops here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So grab your tie-off band and gently hide it behind some of these bands at the back. So that nobody can see it. So that is one ear. Now they are going to look rather big. I mean, it's a Mr. Potato Head. They're kind of supposed to. So I'm not too worried about that. So that's one ear. Let's do the other ear. And I'm going to go again from this way to the other way, because if I go the other way, it's so I'm going with his back towards me now. If I go the other way, it's not going to be the same. And I've got one part through there. That should be right. I think. We will find out. And if it's not, we will move it. Single band, stretch on itself so that it's tighter. Pull it through and reclaim. Single band. Pull it through. Oh, let's pull it all the way through. Not. Pull it through and reclaim. The first one is going to be tying these two together. So put them both on, up and over. Now we're going through these two. So go through. We did 9, so we're on. This is number 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's do that one again. That was 7, 8, and get off, I just want one. 9, take your hook out, come the other way, spread these out, go through your first one here, closest to your hook, single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll need to tie off. We'll go through here, slip knot, nice and tight, spread these out so that they're evenly spaced. And remember, we're going to try and go through the back, so these bands at the back so that you can't see it. But again, don't distort the shape of the ear. You want to make sure that that's still earish. So here we have his ears. Now you can anchor, this is the other thing you can do if you would like, is push your hook through and you can anchor these. You're just going to go through the top, either side. So I've got one side there. Make sure you have a band between. When you pull it through, you have to have at least a band in there. You can tie these off in a knot, or you can I tie them off in a knot because I think they're too close to each other, and if you use a band to tie them, there's really no point because they're still going to be loose. So if you do that, at least it's stuck to the side of the head. You can do the same at the top here. Go through a couple of loops there, grab, flick. So go through, make sure you have at least a band. I think I'm going to use that little band there. Draw it back. And you want to make sure that the ear is angled how you're happy with how the ear is angled before you tie these in. So if you're happy with how that's angled like that. And what I was talking about before is if you use a band to tie this, you've got them quite close together, so it could actually still come away from the side of the head because they're so close. So just doing a little knot like that kind of draws it in so that it's not so far away. So that's, you can do one ear like that, spread these out. So that's one ear, and otherwise they sort of move around a bit, which is why I think it's nice to kind of anchor them a little bit. Let's do this side as well. Pull a band through. Another way of doing it, I guess, is pull one side through, keep it on your hook, and then one over the other, and then go for where the other one is going to be, which might be about here. Loop your band through. Do one over the other. Figure out where you want that one to be. So for this one you might want it to be about, I guess, even here. Pull through, and this is just another way of tying them together. If you don't want to tie knots like I just did before, grab both ends. So you've got one end here and one end here, and then because they're far enough apart from each other, then you could tie with a band just like that, and that would anchor. So that's another way of doing it. You want to add the nose, and the nose is kind of going to be in line with the ears, sort of a little bit. As I'm looking at it, it looks like it's in line, so you sort of want the nose to be up here, maybe about there. The eyes are quite close together. And I'm going to use this tie-off band to pop through and pull back so that I can position exactly where I want it to be. And I think that's too... that could be good. We'll take another band. I'm using brown just so that it fits in with the colour of the of the body. So I'm going to do a little slip knot here, pull through. So I think that will be fine there. And I'm going to put my hook on like that. I'm going to use a stitch marker, S-clip, Q-clip, C-clip, whatever you have, just to hold them. I'm going to grab two sides on this as well. So I'm going to grab on this side. And you have to position, I can't tell you what band you should be pulling it through. It really is something that you're going to have to look at and position as you see fit. I'm going to grab this side here on the opposite side. So I have 4 bands that are going to be anchoring this down. Now I think that's too close. You see how it's pulling it into the side? So I might go one out a bit and pull it down there. And I think that will look a little better. Let's have a look and see. I still want it in the middle. So I'm going to flip over and I'll take my stitch marker off. I can visualize my bands here, I can see them. I'm going to take the red and I'm going to just collect all of these up, going one over the other, like this. One over the other, and then I'm back at the red, and I'm going to take a brown band, and I'm going to attach the red. I'm going to go through a couple of loops at the back here, just so that it doesn't pull. Take my brown band and tie a slip knot, and there is my nose attached. Now the moustache and the teeth go underneath, but I think we kind of need to do a little bit more before we add those. We can add the arms. The arms go underneath the ears, so the arms are going to sit one side here. I've gone down a stitch, and the other side can go right next to it here, pull through so that you have both of those loops on the end of your hook here, and we're going to tie in a slip knot, and I'm just going to use a single band and tie like that. Okay, so that's how I'm doing the arms. Again, come down one, so I'm about here. I'm under the ear. Get it off my holding hook. Pull one side through. Keep that side on my hook, and grab the other side. Pull through. So I have both ends on my hook. Grab a band, pull through the 2 white loops and tie off in a slip knot. So we have our arms, our ears, our nose, our eyes. We will start going down a little bit further before we add our moustache and then our teeth under that. So putting your hook back in, we now have to do 3 single crochets followed by an increase. This was number 1. 2. I'm sorry, followed by a decrease. 3. Now we do a decrease, not an increase, a decrease through the first stitch, go through the second stitch as well, and drag your single band through both of them and join. Then we do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 2, 3, and a decrease. 1, 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 2, 3, and a decrease. And back to the beginning here. Now, this is where we change to blue, and I'm using the ocean blue. It's opaque. It's not jelly. So I'm going to do my first stitch as a single crochet in the blue and move my stitch marker. Now we are doing 3 single crochets followed by a decrease again. Alright, so that was 1, 2, 3, and here's our decrease. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. 1, 2, oops, 3, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. 1, 2, 3. Now I need to do a decrease, but I only have 1 stitch here, so I'm going to go through that last stitch and through the first stitch to do my decrease, and then I'm going to move my stitch marker, if I don't let go, to here to be my first stitch. Alright, let's have a look at what we're doing. Have we got room to put our moustache on yet? Our moustache is going to sit flush with the nose on either side, and you're just going to use tie-off bands like this. So we have 1 tie-off band here, we need to attach another one onto the other side. And I'm just going to go through. I'll find a black band, which I've very carefully put away, thinking I didn't need any more. I'm going to pull that through and do a slip knot. Oh, if I can. Fumble fingers strikes again. And let's see where we're going to put this. About either side like that. So hold it in place, push your hook through, and you want to go as close to the nose as possible on either side, even to the point where you might have to go a little bit under the red, but it's better for that than not. Pull tight. I'm going to flip it over. Now, these two I'm going to tie in a knot because they're not too far apart. So if I just did a band through them, I think it would be too far apart. So I'm going to tie a knot like so. So there's his moustache. And I'm not going to secure it on the bottom. I don't think we really need to. It's secured either side. His teeth are going to go a little bit under his moustache. Push your hook through. Grab the white and pull tight. So marry it up where we want it to be. And I think that the teeth could go about here. I'm going to hold it where I want, and I'm going to grab my hook and pull that white tie-off band through one side, and let's grab the other side through. Is that too close? You can lower it a little bit if you want. I think I'll lower one side. I think I made one side higher than the other. I did. Let's pull that back here. That'll do. Turn it over. Again, I'm going to tie a knot, a manual knot. Making sure I don't do it too tight that I pinch it. There we go. So there are the teeth and the moustache, moustache. My little girl says stash, I say moustache. So there we go. There's his moustache, his nose, his teeth, his eyes, ears, and hands. We only have his feet to go on, but let's finish up here. Hook in. We're doing a round of single crochet just in the blue. No decreases for this round. Make sure we're in our next stitch. Yes, we are. Now we stuff him and close him off, and then we add the feet after the fact. Make sure you go through both loops. Single crochet all the way around. to the beginning, single crochet, move your stitch marker. We're now going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease, so that was 1, 2 and a decrease, 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 1, 2 and a decrease. Now do a single crochet in the first stitch, move your stitch marker, and let's stuff Mr. Potato Head. I'm going to just move my stitch marker so it's looped up here a little bit, and this is where we're going to stuff him. I use the 100% polyfill. I find it very soft, very easy to use. The trick with doing this is to always remember less is best. You don't want to overstuff. If you overstuff, the stitches sort of pull apart and you can see great big gaping holes in your creation. Make sure you push the stuffing all the way to the tip of his hat. Okay, you want to make sure you do that. And I think we can do just a tiny bit more. I don't want him looking too skinny. Okay. Move his moustache around a bit. I think that's going to be okay. So now we're going to do a single crochet followed by a decrease, and then we'll close him up. So that was our single crochet, so we'll do a decrease, followed by a single crochet. I'll try and push the stuffing down so it doesn't sort of get caught up in my stitches, followed by a decrease, single crochet, followed by a decrease, single crochet and a decrease, single crochet decrease, and now we're just going to decrease until we tie this off with a slip knot. So we'll do another decrease here, and a decrease here, decrease here, decrease here, and we'll tie off here. Single band, pull through all the loops, slip knot, push your hook up through the middle, grab that tie off band, pull it back through, and gently ease your hook out so that too much stuffing doesn't come out. Alright, so this is his head. So the last thing we have to do from Mr. Potato Head is add his feet. What we have to do first is put a little bit of stuffing, not too much, because his shoes are only little. So I use the Polyfill 100% toy stuffing. Let's pop a little bit in here, just so that they have some shape to them. There we go. And I think this has to probably be my least favourite part of these kind of projects, is sewing the legs and arms and whatnot on. I don't know about you guys, but I find that fiddle factor quite annoying. So we have a small bottom and rather large feet, and we're going to have to position them so that the back of these feet sit at about the back of his where the blue meets the brown. Okay, so we have one tie-off band that we're going to start with, and we want to make sure that with each foot we don't go sort of above the middle, okay, because otherwise you're encroaching on the other side. So I'm going to pop my hook through, and I'm just going to drag my tie-off band here through, and then pop my hook on it. And as I said, I'm going to try and make sure as I do this that I'm going to go through two of the bands on my little person on the feet, and then pick a spot, and I'm going to try and go through the blue bands, and because he's squidgy it makes it a little difficult, and then pull a band through and pull it through the band that you've already looped on as well, okay, and then you're going to take one over the other like that. And let's go through our next spot here, and you're sort of doing each of the stitches. I'm going to try and make sure that I stay in view for you. So similar to how we laid the bands to do the rim, we're just going around and grabbing the bands, and you have to work out, again I can't say you go on the 5th stitch next to this, you just have to sort of work out yourself. Got a broken band there, let's get rid of that. Making sure that you don't go past the center point on his bottom here. And you don't have to pick every stitch, I'm sort of picking almost every other actually. Because you're just, oh, and through the band on my hook. See how we're coming around here like this? Go through and I tend to go through both. And let's see, we'll go through about here. I don't want to go through too many. If you go through too many bands, like, it's good to just go through like the little loops, but if you go through a whole wodge of them, you're going to end up with a hole, and you don't want a gaping hole. So be mindful, you know, you might just want to go through 1 or 2 bands, not 4 or 5 or 6. There we go, we're just sort of stitching this on. Oh, I hate when I get the stuffing on my hook. There we go. I'm going to go to this point here, and on that little band here, I'm going to squidge it together to get there. See how you're sort of sewing it on? Then I'm going to go through this last band here, and I'm back sort of to the beginning again. So I'm going to try and go through, I don't want to go through the shoe, I want to go through a band on the actual body. Pull it through, one over the other, and now we're going to do just a little slip knot to tie it off, and I'm just going through one of the little bands that I've already done there, grabbing a single band, pulling it through and tying a slip knot like so, and then I'm going to go through the foot, the bottom of the foot, come out where I did that slip knot, grab that band and pull it back through so that it's hidden inside the foot so that we don't see it. So there is, that's how we did 1. Right, we've got 2 to do, sorry. Alright, we're going to do the same sort of thing. Marry it up to where this bit is going to be on the end. So I'm going to go through about here, grab a band and pull that one through, and really try hard to make sure that you get it all lined up nice and even. It's not going to be perfect. There's no way that you're going to get it matched up perfectly, but you can try and at least get it even if you don't drop your stitches like I'm busy doing. One over the other. There we go. Now I'm going to skip a stitch and go to the next ones here. As you can see, I've come up to the top, so I'm going to go through these top ones here. Pull through. Oops. Try that again. Skip a stitch, go to the next 2. Again, I'm going to try and make sure that I'm even. So I'm going to go here. And if you need to, twist your hook so that you don't get stuck on things. That's what I do quite often, is I twist my hook so that I don't snag it on other bands. So I push through here, grab my band, and then I twist my hook around as I'm pulling it through so I don't get it snagged on the bands. Skip a spot and get the next. Maybe about here. Skip a spot and excuse me for being so inelegant, Mr. Potato Head. Skip a spot. Well, actually I'm not going to skip a spot. I'm going to go right there and grab those 2. And then I'm going to just go through here and find a band there. This is my last one. Oh, I got overexcited and pulled it all the way through. That was silly of me. Let's try that again. I'm at the end. Pull through. One over the other, and let's do our slip knot. Okay, nice and tight. You must make sure when you do these knots that things are tight through the sole of his shoe, out by your tie-off band, and pull through. Oh, and I pulled stuffing out. Silly me. Stuff it back in. There we go. Alright, so here is our Mr. Potato Head. Now, I'm pretty sure he's not going to stand, and yes, you can angle his arms as well so that he doesn't look like he's double jointed. I'm pretty sure he's not going to stand up terribly well at all. I mean, he's a stuffed toy, so he's not really going to stand up unless maybe you had, I think you've seen my little stands that I use for my standing dolls. You could probably do something like that if you needed to stand him on a shelf or something. You could angle the paper clip so that he's got something to lean back on like that, just by putting the paper clip up. But you need to be very careful, and you wouldn't want little children to play with something like that. But as I said, if you need him to stand on a shelf or something like that, that would be a perfect idea. But anyway, there he is, Mr. Potato Head. I really hope you enjoy making him. Take care. Bye-bye.